Hello and welcome to another episode of Thoughts on Education. Today we have with us Dr. Ejaz Qureshi to share his thoughts. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Morning to you.
I would like to begin the session by enlightening our audience with a brief introduction of yours. Dr. Ejaz Qureshi is the director at the Rajarshi Shahu Institute of Management in Aurangabad since the past 4 years. As of today, he has more than 14 years of teaching experience and has been awarded a PhD in management science. He also holds an MBA in marketing. He has authored and presented research papers in various international and national conferences and research journals. He has also served as a corporate trainer at the Institute of Chartered Financial Analysis India and is passionate about building managerial and technical skills. We're really happy to have you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Charu, for your brief introduction. Thanks a lot.
All right, sir. So, beginning with the interview, my first question for the day is: you have held key positions at education institutes throughout your professional career. What keeps you connected with the education sector, and how has your experience been so far with the institute?
Well, to begin with, the first about the career, let me be very frank. I started my career as a trainer, and I had always an inclination towards training. One of the strength which I feel is about my convincing ability and the communication skill. And long back, I thought about that I should be a better trainer. But then, someone advised me that the teaching will be better for you, where you can really impart your knowledge. And then I started my career in teaching also. I have experience in India and abroad. But finally, when I was ICFI corporate speaker, I had a very good experience where I could meet all the eminent managers, where I used to give them the skill inputs. And that's how the real experience started. And I started loving that I should be in teaching fraternity. So am I today. My experience, I think, is better off as teaching. I'm quite content in my profession.
It's great to know your passion for teaching, sir. Moving on to my next question. Being the director of Rajarshi Shahu Institute of Management, what is your philosophy of leadership, and how would you describe your leadership style?
Well, I'll be very honest in telling you about my style of leadership, because I do believe in autocratic, charismatic, transformational. These are all old concepts of leadership. Being a managerial person, I feel that I love to be in participative style of leadership. So leader, the word leader, first comes lead. That means you should have more followers so that you can attain your task. And for that, you need to keep people happy and keep on moving in a proper direction. So as a leader, what I do is that I participate everyone, but then final decision I do take for it. I feel that as a leader, I should get the sad news first rather than getting the glad news, because I'm, as a troubleshooter, sitting as a director, and I have an experience of industrial experience around 16 years in my industries in India and abroad. So there is a vast difference between the teaching and the real practical exposure. So you need to be a very efficient leader, and a leader can only lead the team when he understands people. So to understand people, you need to participate with them. It is more participative. I believe that I take everyone's say, and then finally I just guide them. I don't instruct them, but then I'm always there wherever they find any trouble, or I'll always lead my team to the success.
So that's amazing to know that you take your team along with you and guide them at every step of the way. Moving on to my next question: how do you strategize about the key programs and plans for the marketing and administration of your college, being the director of the Rajarshi Shahu Institute of Management?
Well, this is a 4 years experience from 16 to 20, but earlier to than this, I started my career from this institute only, Rajesh Institute of Management, long back in 2002. And then I went to Pune, and I was a director in Pune Trinity Institute of Management. There I served for 8 years. Then I was called upon on demand saying that I should be back to my parent institute. So I thought that it's my concern. And even one of the reasons which I'll honestly put up is that because of demonetization, there was a trouble for all the sectors, even the education field, where they went on, sacrificing the salaries. And as a result, I thought that my native in Aurangabad, so I came back to Aurangabad. Now, how do I strategize? My strategy is when I really put up any task, I do homework. Like, how should I really work out? Until unless I don't do homework, I never show any sharp reaction to any action which comes to me. Programs are very important to me. Students are to be guided in a proper fixed direction which shows some results. And strategy is always that I keep it on RRCC, the full form of RRCC is role, responsibility, check and confirm. This is rather my management, I define my management saying that the spelling of management is MAN, one man. Age is rather experience of 15 or 20 years. And again, men means 100 men, and T is in a technical form you guide for them. So strategy is something for me is I take time to really plan up the things, the inputs, and then I feel that everything should be ready within myself, and then I transform to my subordinates. I don't have a fixed strategy, but yes, I do have a lot of hard work to plan up every small event, whether it's a function, whether it is a seminar. But I feel that how should I really get benefited to my institute?
All right, sir. I believe everyone watching this interview will really be enlightened by your way of strategizing and your meticulous planning for the institute. I'll move on to my next question. And so the education systems in India and other foreign countries are structured very differently, basically. So in your experience, what can an inbound student gain from studying here in your institute?
Well, Aurangabad is now a metropolitan city, metropolitan after Bombay, Pune, Nagpur. Aurangabad stands. In fact, to some extent, it competes to Nagpur also. We have got a handful of few management institutes, but Pune being very near to us, around 250 kilometers, students prefer to get into Pune University. In my institute, what is really gaining is, I really believe in imparting skills to my students. I try to make them first a fine human being. Secondly, my team, my faculty members, I have given them a role of mentorship. Every faculty is a mentor, guiding for 20 mentees, that is 20 students. And the students, what they gain is, apart from the syllabus, I have crafted and designed a syllabus saying that A to Z of interviews. Like, you prepare the students, and when they go for a job, finally, they don't know how to reciprocate and then how to really fare the interview. Now, that's a big hurdle. I've kept a lady who gives all the inputs, which is not in the so-called curricula. The curriculum is completely different. We follow from the university. But then how to present yourself? What should be the presentation skills? How should you prepare your resume? And what are the questions and how it should be, in what fashion should it be answered? Now, this is something where students really get attracted to my institute. Our institute has got a very good society, and I'm proud of my chairman, founder, Sri Honorable J.K. Jadhav, who has got an institute in Bombay also, and we have got a lot of colleges in and around Aurangabad. The basic purpose is to really serve the rural student, to groom them up and to make them employable. That's the real aim for it. That's how we go along.
Right, sir. That's great to know that the students are being trained in a very unconventional way and in a very different approach by your institute. I'm sure that they'll be able to excel in their careers going forward from the institute. All right, sir. So moving on to my next question. How does the curriculum of Rajarshi Shahu Institute of Management ensure the best practice of the industry?
Well, again, this question, I think is quite a common question wherever I've given my interview. Now, first point is we are governed by the University of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad. And to my knowledge, the sad part is The curriculum is completely outdated. We are following the pattern which the university has given us. Now, what is required and what is lacking around us? Not only my students, all the students belonging to this place, Aurangabad, and who are really under the umbrella of our universities, they are really having a bridge. We never meet to the industrial expectation for what we should do it. Like, how do the industries practice? That's more important. What are the industrial expectations? I don't say that I'm in my institute, I don't want to praise that I'm really so-called preparing the ready managers, but at least a budding manager where they can shoot small troubles, where they should have a presentation skill about what's the problem. They should be able to give the inputs to their respective boss. The subordinates should be efficient enough. They should have courage to stay long for having a good stamina to work. But then university thought of revising the syllabus. But the practical practice which is seen in the industry is still lacking around in the curriculum. So we cannot wait any longer. I've taken up a decision along with my Bombay Institute that the placements are important, students grooming is important. At the same time, we should have more stress on the exposure of industrial working. Now, how does the industry work? That's more important. Instead of sending students for 2 months, we see that whenever we get a slot for the students, we take them industrial visits. But at the same time, I allow students to really go for summer training, which lasts for around 3 months. And wherever we find the students, as per to their respective domain, whether it is in finance or HR, we just send them. Not depending upon the so-called specialization that I do belong to marketing, I'll only practice for marketing. It is like you should understand what is the real working culture in an industry. What is the environment in a marketing team? What is required in the sales? Now, these are basic things. And I just don't blame the university for their curriculum. But then again, finally, it takes time for this management to really get on to good hands where they can really design and craft a very effective curriculum. Because curriculum is very important. Students comes out with good grades, but finally when they fail to interview, it becomes difficult for them to get on a job. And what are the industrial expectations are basic industrial expectations, which should be included in the university. But I'm proud that in our institute, we have started long back.
Sure, sir. Any insights into how Rajashri Shahu Institute of Management could be more welcoming to students of different races or economic backgrounds?
See, our founder member, the chairman, Honorable J.K. Jadhav, sir, belongs to a rural place, which is near Aurangabad. And we have decided that economical student, like we do, government do caters to scholarships like EBC, economical backward class. At the same time, minority students for Muslims, Jains, Sikh, Parsis. Apart from that, we do consider students coming from all the races, irrespective of their caste. We want even rural students and poor students who cannot afford for the fees. There, we have got a quota around 10 to 12 seats for them, apart from the reservation. We understand their problem. We look into their economic ground. At the same time, my boss allowed them for 50% so-called discount for the fees, and that too in the installment basis. The other institutes, they do give the concession, but then the installment process is there, but the concession is never there. If you come to our institute or you see the fees on my website, you'll feel that we are giving completely 50% off to students who are belonging to villages, would like to groom themselves, and even our founder chairman was additional director of industries in Bombay. He do help us for the placements, where he is quite a well-known figure in Maharashtra. And we understand that industry people knows him well. And we try to push the students wherever we find a suitable slot for them.
All right, sir. So what do you think should be the institute's top priority over the next 10 years?
See, I'll make it very clear for institute and for university, the top priorities. For institute, let me start with the institute. There is a dearth of quality faculty. and the quality education is really missing around. We are growing in a quantitative way, not the qualitative way. Now, why the quality is missing around us? There are certain criteria. Like AICT has made it that a person should be PhD, a person should be around having 2 years experience, should be first class and all. Now, these are all the basic things. Okay, one should have focus on research. I do understand, but the point is that faculty should have an interest. They should be engrossed in books, which is not taking place. If you find quality faculty, the quality faculty runs after the so-called amenities and a better perks and a city where they can really have a better living. So finding up a quality faculty will be the first top priority, not only for institute, for universities also. But university coming under the government may not take it seriously. But for private institute, if they at all want to survive, they should have quality faculty, because quality faculty will render quality education and they will inculcate the skills where finally the students will get benefited out of it. Now, second priority is that about the funds finance. I've seen, it's my experience of Pune and Aurangabad, and I'm happy that wherever I work, thank God that my bosses have been always very lenient and very reasonable in spending around. I've seen many institute does not believe in spending. You should spend, if you spend, you get it back. But then funds always become a problem. Like students has to be great. They have to be great. Students feel that they should get something out of the curriculum. We need to call extension lecture. We need to call guest lectures. We need to call practicing managers from industry. We have to pay for them. Now, this is not included in my curriculum. University never advised me for this. Now, but this is not an extra expense. I'll say this is a must. Student, they listen to outsider better than an insider. Now, for them, we need to spend. We need to spend them for skill enhancement. We need to send them for industrial visit. We need to sponsor them for some residential entrepreneurship program. We only try to focus on getting up a job. I say that institutes should always take up an entrepreneurship as a must. They should have an entrepreneurship cell. They should come on to incubators. They should try to make institute into an industry. That is what is very important. Every student should have aim to become his own so-called enterprise. He should become an entrepreneur. Now, these are two things which are on the top priority.
Sure, sir. Definitely, entrepreneurship is something that should be a priority for today's students, as they really need to face the real world challenges with a lot of confidence, and having entrepreneurial skills will definitely help them go very far.
Teachers, Charu, sorry for disturbing you, Charu. The reason is that, the teachers and the faculties, they are rushing up to finish up the syllabus and to pack up with the semester. But that's not all. Entrepreneurship should be given an equal justice. It shouldn't be a part of the syllabus. It should be given full justice, where they should be exposed to all entrepreneurs. Let the successful entrepreneurs do visit our institute, which is a regular feature in our institute. We call all the entrepreneurs belonging to Aurangabad city to share their success story and what are the real inputs where they can inculcate with the students. And that is, again, an attraction towards my institute for admissions and for really keeping students abreast of the happenings.
Definitely, sir. Now, what do you see as the greatest strength of the Rajarshi Shahu Institute of Management?
My greatest strength in terms of comparing to other institutes is that I've got experienced faculty. There are few faculties who are industrial backed up. They have worked, they have served, and they have worked in industries, and their conceptual clarification is there. That is first thing. Second thing is my infrastructure. We have got a state-of-the-art infrastructure, a superb library, which does not include only the syllabus. We call the journals, magazines, and other newspapers. And my mentors advise students for 1 hour every day to go through with magazine, journals, and newspapers. Now, Third, the strength is that we are situated in the heart of the city. We are in an industrial area, and we get, summer schools and winter schools training very easily. And this institute is quite accessible by buses. Our girl students also, they come by bus. We do have bus facility also. And at the same time, a major strength is that we, as per to compare to other institutes, we have got more of lady students than compared to the other sex. The reason in the gender is that they find the most safe, and we have got majority of lady faculties along with very few of gents faculty, which are 4 to 5. Now these are all strengths where the girl students also find themselves very comfortable and secure in school.
All right, sir. So, what are some of the biggest challenges that you see both for higher education in general and for Rajarshi Shahu Institute of Management specifically?
See, for higher education, I'll feel that they have to first expand the horizon. My education knowledge says that people still, they are hungry for taking up education. Education should have expansion with a set target that it should be economical. Now, rural students, I feel sorry for Zilla Parishad schools, or to the higher standards also. If you take it, there are very few colleges who work sincerely. Now, the first challenge is that if at all India needs to develop and our country needs to develop, even a human being has to be well educated. We need to cater education to all sectors, especially for rural sector, which is a neglected one. The second thing is that, as I told you, the biggest challenge which everyone is facing around, and we are in the same pool, that is dearth of quality faculty. We need to have quality faculty. We should have good people who are backed by experience, who can give the real contribute 24/7. Because teachers, sometimes faculties, they only teach this as a job, but they should take it as a career. Now this is missing around. This is a big challenge. A leader has to motivate them. He has to counsel them that they treat this as a career, not as a job. There are many teachers, not only in rural and higher education, in management education also. They feel that they're eligible for teaching up management students, so they pick up the job because they don't find any other job in the market. But then teachers should be very dedicated. This is a challenge, and I think this is again a challenge of the leader to meet this and to really resolve this issue. Now the third thing is that, which I feel is, we should have good governance and towards research. There are management institutes only teaching about research methodology, but they should have their own research centers. Teachers get comfortable, they pacify themselves, they get convinced by saying that I've completed, I'm now PhD. I say that instead of students, let the first faculty teachers go to the industry and learn something. Look, you are teaching what university has advised you. That's A. The B thing is that, which is very important, should be A, that the teacher should first enter into industry and find what is the real environment, what is the culture, what is R&D. Give them a small task. Don't give them very good, big titles of research. Give them a small survey, a pilot survey, a market research, or HR case studies, which is around, which is not existing case studies. We are completely left out. And as a result, our students, when they go to face the industrial life, cases comes around. Marketing, they should really contribute by their so-called consultancy. Now, these are the real issues which need to be solved out.
Definitely, sir. I agree with you on all the points that you just mentioned. Sir, that brings me to my last question for the interview. Are there any suggestions that you would like to give to the current youth and the aspiring students?
my very first suggestion will be, first of all, students should be well-informed students. I'm not talking about the very hi-fi management institutes. It's my experience which I've seen that today's students are not interested in taking up their studies seriously. In management world, they want to enter to get up a job. But then what are the criteria to take up an admission? I find in my daily life, students have given CET common entrance test and have failed to get onto online registration. They're out of the round. They're out of the cap round. The simple reason is that there is no awareness that we need to create. But at the same time, students should be well informed. They should have more awareness. Whether it is a dental, whether it is law, whether it is management, whether it is a pharma, you need to study what you are heading for. A student is completely blind. Completely a blind person moving around in a different world. And then you are whistling in the dark. You don't understand what you are really heading for. But for management education, most of the students aspire for getting a job and they lack everything. It's very difficult for 2 years to teach them in master's program to make them employable. So what I feel is that they should have first fixed aim. They should develop right from the 10th standard, or say by 12th standard. 12th, I'll still say it's late. 10th standard, they should make up a mind that I would like to enter into technology. I would enter into food technology. I'll go for medicine. I'll go for engineering. I'll go for management. Then if management, what are the real so-called process for getting into management? So I'll advise and I'll students, irrespective of the management, they should have more awareness of the program they are heading for. Even if it is not heading for, they should have that knowledge about it. Second thing is that we should stress more. Teachers do teach us from kindergarten. We go to playgroup, then kindergarten, and then you come up to so-called higher studies and all. But then teachers only teach, they teach you for a year and then you are really, promoted. But it is up to students that they should develop some soft skills, like, decency of dressing, communication skills. How should you really move in the society? Develop etiquette of manners. Develop a sense of presenting up yourself that makes you more easy. And finally, last but not least, students should believe in reading a lot. They should be in contact with the books. Like most of the students I have seen, even in top institutes, you find that the only practical and easy way to fare the exam is to buy guides. See, by getting into guides, you're only answering the question. You're completely blind. You're not getting the knowledge. You'll have a tough time to go and when you fare an interview with your boss. So what I feel is that at least refer 2 to 3 books of that particular subject. Now this problem is with teachers also. If you ask them 5 authors of one subject, they are not able to tell. The reason is that they don't prefer to sit in a library, and I don't understand it, and I'm browsing. Most of the faculty and the students, the technology to which extent it has brought us, hanging on the mobiles, smartphones. That's not the real way. What is the meaning of this particular term? You really refer to your so-called friend Google. I say refer to the dictionary. At least read the newspapers. You'll be able to present up yourself. There are many students of management and other, they don't know who is the prime minister, who is the finance minister. Now, but then, that happens to faculty also. Faculty take up an convenient, comfortable, elation feeling, said that, okay, fine, I've got my PhD, no read for research. I did all my PhD, that's enough. You can only present your research papers when you read something. By copying around and presenting research papers or just teaching for the books, which is monotonous, is not great. You need to update yourself. Student also need to update himself or herself.
Thank you so much, sir. This was certainly an insightful session for us. Thank you for giving us your time and speaking to us amidst your busy schedule. We look forward to interacting with you again.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. You're most welcome.